Hello and welcome. This is the first video of the Page Builder Essentials. In today's video, we are going to make the Create Project page, a page in which we can create our projects. So let's get started. First things first, let's make sure that we create a new page. So we are going to open up, create a new page, and I'm going to use the Start from Scratch to create the Project Create page. That's also the name that I'm going to give the page. And I'm going to change the URL so that instead of the dash, it is going to say project/create. And it is going to be an authenticated page because I want people to be logged in when they create projects in the application. So now, to start off, as I sketched in my other pages, I want to have a menu on top. I really like having the image beneath that and then the rest of my page structure underneath. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to grab the top menu with 3 items. There we go. And then beneath that, I'm going to place the header with title. I'm going to change the top of my page a little bit, making sure that the menu, that it says something about project create, or you know what, the page title I'm just going to unify. I'm going to call it project management, and I'm going to call menu item number 3 companies, and for menu number 1 I can already select the project overview. So there we go. We already are like setting some stuff. We're getting some stuff ready. So we have the menu, and now for the header, I'm going to give this the actual page title called Project Create, so that when you, or you know what, we're going to make it a fancy little name, Create Your Project. There we go. So we are now on our Project Create page, and within our Project Create page, I want to show a form that asks the project data. So, well, you ask a user, hey, what do you want your project to be like? I want to give it a title, I want to give it a description, etc., etc. And we can do that by using a form. So we're going to dive into using some of the regular components now too. So from the layout components, you have the option to use the columns. This allows you to use a segment of your page and to basically determine how wide of that segment of the page you want your form to be. In this case, we have a column. This column, as you can see, if you click on it, it has a width of flexible, meaning that on every page, it'll just fill up to how width the page allows it to be. But let's say on my mobile phone, I want it to be full width, but on my monitor, my regular computer monitor, I want it to be half width. Well, this system is called a grid system, and it uses 12 points. The entire width is 12 points. And if I say I want it to be 6 wide, as you can see, it uses only half of the space it has available. And for a tablet landscape, I could say, what if I want it to be 8? And for a tablet that's on its side, I want it to be 10. Well, this way you can play around with how your pages look at a different viewport. And if you want to know how it looks like, well, luckily in the bottom left corner, we can click on the different kind of viewports to see what it would look like for our mobile phone or tablet users. So now we have this column. Let's click on the laptop view. Well, that looks exactly the way we want it to, 6 wide. And if we click on tablet, well, there you go. It is now 8 wide, so it is a little further down, or I think this is, yeah, exactly. And now we're going to standing up. So as you can see, it goes to 10 wide, and here you go, phone, it takes the entire width. And the reason for that is a phone screen regularly is a little smaller than your monitor. Therefore, I wanted to use the full width when I'm using a phone view, a mobile view, and when it's on my laptop or my computer, I want it to take half the width of the page. This is just an explanation. For this page right now, we don't need to do that at all. We can just leave it up for flexible. So we can just leave it. If you feel like testing out, playing around with the amount of, well, the width of the columns, feel free to do so. And let's add the form component to our column. The reason we are first dragging a column onto our page is because a form column in regular and a lot of components can't just be put onto your canvas. The reason is most components actually need a little bit of structure to know where they are allowed to be on your page. And for this, we have these layout components. This layout component now says, hey, you, the child components that you're going to drag into your column, you are only allowed to be within this segment of your page. That also means that if I grab a form component and will try to put it anywhere else on the canvas, I can't. I can only drop it in other columns and layout components. So that's the first thing of components. Now we're going to dive into that create part. Forms ask users for information, and with the press of a button, they send that information data to an action that then turns it into the data that can be saved in your application's structure. Actions is something that we're going to dive into next course, but luckily these forms help you out a little bit. It has a wizard connected to it that helps you set up the entire form. And we can do that by using the create form. I'm going to drag the create form into the column. I'm going to select the project model because that's the information that we are asking of a user. And then we're going to think of what are the items that we want to ask the users. And a little reminder, make sure that you pick the most important things first and the least important things later. Such as a title of a project, to me, is the most important thing, and a description after that. Then maybe a start date and an end date. I would like to know which user is going to be the lead of the project. So I'm going to add the user to the project too. Then I am going to add the image. The only items that are currently left are tasks and the status. I'm not going to ask users to put in a status because the way that we designed our model structure and our status property is that it automatically assigns to do, the status to do, to a project once it's been created. Therefore, we don't need to ask a user to fill in a status because it's already automatically assigned. Neat, handy stuff. And for tasks, the same thing goes. For tasks, you want an individual form so that users can also fill in all that individual information. We're going to do that in another overview. So here we go. We're going to ask users for a title, a description, start and end date, which user is going to own the project, and an image for the project. I'm going to press save, and the entire form is automatically generated. All the stuff you see on your page right now, if I click on one of the items and navigate to the parent item, belongs to the create form. You have a success and an error alert component. These only pop up when something is processed by the form. For example, you fill in some information and maybe some of the information is invalid, such as you put some regular text in an email address input field. Then the error message pops up and says, hey, that's not an email address that you're filling in right there. Please fill it in correctly. Or if you have successfully submitted the form, the success alert will pop up. So we can just leave these as they are. Then, well, the title, the description, the start date, the end date, the user, the project image, and a send button. The send button will trigger the form and send it all the way back to our action and data. Well, and then again, if we select the form, you can see that we have the options to reconfigure the way that things are ordered. We can move to the action that processes all the data, and we can see the model that is used for the create form. This is practically what I would like to see. The only thing that I want to change right now is make sure that when we have this autocomplete, when we want to show a user, I want to make sure that we can see a user name instead of an ID of any user. So I'm going to select the label from the user and make sure that it shows a user name. So what I've done is click on the autocomplete input over here. Go to label for options. This is going to show what is going to, this is going to display, this is going to show what is going to display in the dropdown, and then we are done for. We have the project image. We have everything we need, actually. I am going to press play. And then we are going to have a look and see what is going to happen in that front end. So if the session has expired, make sure that you log in again. So there we go. And we have the project create. So let's create a project. I'm gonna create 1 or 2 projects to make sure that we have something in our database. My first project is going to be buy a cool painting. I need a painting in my house. It's been looking quite dull for a while, so make sure that your house looks cool and not dull anymore. Get yourself a painting. All right. Then the start date, I'm gonna leave that to the date that the picker suggests, and the end date, well, within 2 months. The user, it's going to be me. And let's see, do I have an image that will help me out for that? We're gonna pick the BettyBlocks logo for now, because it's something that I have at hand. And the form has been successfully submitted. So now I would like to create another project. I'm going to refresh the page. All right, and after the refresh, I'm going to create a new one. The new project is going to be create a project management application. We need to manage a multitude of projects. Make sure we have a place to govern them. All right. And the end date is going to be later. Image. We have an action icon. Press send. And the form has been submitted. So let's move to our projects page. And if I'm correct, exactly, we already have 2 nice and neat looking images, or images, 2 whole projects that we can work with. So I would love to review them or preview them, but that means that I would have to make this view button visible. And that doesn't work at the moment. If I'm clicking on our page, we also have no way of moving to our project create page. So let's first make sure that we can navigate to our create page. So this is the create page. And let's open up our homepage. And within this card, I would like to add an extra button. However, this card is a widget, and widgets only allow you to change certain things unless you unlock the widget. And we can do that by clicking on the widget and then pressing the unlock or the lock item in the bottom left. If I unlock it, now I can click on all the separate items within the widget. So what I can also do is I can also duplicate the button, and I can use the second button and, well, select page and make sure that it allows us to navigate to the project create. I am going to add a little bit of styling to this though. I'm going to first change the icon because I do feel like create, it gives a nice little idea if we change the icon. The outer space of the button, if you see, these buttons are connected to each other, and I don't really like that. I want there to be a little bit of space between the left button and the right button. So when selecting the right button, I'm going to add a little bit of outer space by clicking on the cogwheel, and then on the left side of, well, this item, I'm going to set medium. Let's see. Yeah, this adds exactly the amount of space that I wanted to have. And now that I've added an icon, we're just working our way through this. I'm also gonna give an icon to the project overview. This looks lovely. And the second button, I want that to have the reverse kind of styling as what the other one has. So I want this to have blue text and a blue icon, but it will be a white button. And well, we can do that by pressing styles. We can look at the styles, and here you can see that this button currently has the filled style. So let's see if any of these button styles do what we want. Okay, this is one, and then we have outline. Oh, this is looking neat. Let's have a look. Yes, this is exactly the style that I'm looking for. Project overview, project create. There we go. This is lovely. This is what I needed. I'm going to change. Can I change some of the space here? Yes. No. This is what I would like. Yeah. Project overview. Project create. Make sure that we push these changes to our front end. And once that is done, we can move to project create. We can move to our project overview. And the only thing that is left is making sure that we can open up the project details so that we can see what this project is all about. And we're going to do that in the next video. So see you there.